Hey, welcome to Long Distance Sisters.
I'm Tori.
I'm MacKenna.
And I'm Serena.
Come chat with us while we're far apart.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay, so the next day, I stayed at Jungle Lodge Tikal. They have like their exploration headquarters, which are kind of their hostel rooms. And those were $40 a night plus taxes. So it was more like $48, I think. And then shuttle was $20 round trip. And so the shuttle picked me up from the island of Flores at 7. And no one at the had booked the 7:30 shuttle from the airport, so we just went straight from the island to the lodge, and it took about an hour, so that was pretty good timing. And I got my breakfast that morning from Delirio Cafe. So the shuttle was picking me up from Hotel Isla de Flores, and they have a bakery right there just around the corner from the lobby. So I got my breakfast there, and I got like a bagel without cream cheese, came with a side of fruit. I also got an order of that to go, which I ended up snacking on the fruit right when I got to Tikal, and I saved that second bagel for my breakfast the next morning. So I didn't feel like having avocado toast for breakfast because I don't like avocado. So yeah, I got on my shuttle. The shuttle driver was super nice. Definitely pointed a few things out on the way to Tikal. Once I got to Tikal, thankfully my room was ready right when I got there at about 8. So they let me go to my room right away, which there's no guarantee of a room being ready till 3, which my guided tour started at 3. But yeah, it was ready, which was great. So I could like drop off my stuff, organize what I was gonna bring with me, and I had it to like come back to throughout the day as I pleased. And so I went from there to get like my wristband, and then I entered Tikal, took a picture of this big map a little up the ways from where you get your wristbands. At the edge of the lodge's driveway, it's like kind of across the street leading into Tikal, into the actual park, like where the ruins are, across from like the vendors and like the restaurant for general guests. Because I don't think you can eat at the lodge's restaurant if you're not staying there. I'm not quite sure about that though. But yeah, so I walked up that road into Tikal a little bit. I think, okay, so yeah, I was like right here. And down here is where they like have everything. Pick up your tickets and everything. And then I took this route right here because I knew I was going to see over here. And then I think right here and the Lost World over here. For if you're listening to the podcast, I'm sorry. I'm pointing to a map on the video version. So yeah, I immediately went up to the right and kind of hit some of these complexes, went up to the north zone, and then back down and kind of up this a path that is not marked on this map. But eventually I found my way. Unless there wasn't a lake there, I don't know. But I made my way to Temple 4, which is under refurbishment while I was there, so it wasn't climbable. But that is the temple that in Star Wars A New Hope, so the first one that came out, episode 4, they shot from that temple to get a view of like temples 3 and 1 and some other structures for was it Yakin? The rebel base in that movie, like the landscape shots, those Tikal. Coincidentally, pure coincidence, 2 Disney things on this trip, one each day. So yeah, and that's where I ran into John from yoga again. So that was cool. Like, I mean, we both knew we were gonna be in Tikal that day, so it was like cool. I didn't exchange any kind of contact information with anyone I met on this trip. It was just like, hey, bye, nice meeting you, peace out, that kind of stuff. But yeah, he said like as you're backpacking, if you like go to backpack for a few months, a lot of people kind of take the same route, like starting further south and making their way up Central America. So every now and then you cross paths with the same people over and over again. So yeah, it was kind of cool to get a little bit of that in Flores and Tikal. And then I kind of went around and did like Temple 5 and some of the structures over there. And then my grand finale for my first part, my first kind of leg in Tikal, was the Grand Plaza, which was a great place to finish. The North Acropolis used to be a cemetery. You can climb Temple 2. And yeah, it was just like really fun, really interesting and neat. Especially when I was going out to like the North Zone. Like I didn't see anyone when I was walking this path right here to and from the North Zone. And then I passed like one group on the way from, I think this is Complex Q or something, I don't know, to Temple 4. And there were like noises I heard in the jungle. I'm not sure what they were, what animal they were, whether it was like aggressive or courtship or something. I have a recording of it. I should probably figure it out, but if I do, by the time I'm editing this video, I will put it on the screen. But yeah, it was hot. I was maybe out there for like 3 hours, but I had plenty of water, which was good. And my room at the lodge came with 2 complimentary bottles of water. You don't drink tap water in Guatemala. Hostel MacKenna also had like free water available to people staying there. So that was great. I don't know if Los Amigos has that. I wouldn't be surprised if they did though. So yeah, I like never had to pay for a bottle of water on this, or any kind of water on this trip, which was really nice. I did factor that into my budget, so I'm glad I didn't have to actually spend money on water. After this 3-hour leg in Tikal, I did go like kind of clean up a little at my hotel, and that was kind of like a little after 12. So I went to lunch. I got black bean soup, which I had a lot of hot food on this trip, but it didn't bother me too much, thankfully. But yeah, got Guatemalan black bean soup, came with really nice fluffy bread. Oh, that was so good. And then I also got tostones, which I saved about half of them for a snack. They didn't keep well, but I mean, they were still tasty the next day. So yeah, and I got Gatorade at lunch too. So I guess I did pay for like, because like the water there you would have had to pay for, and it would have been bottled. So I was like, if it's gonna be bottled, no matter what, I'm just gonna get Gatorade, because I was obviously sweating a lot. So I figured electrolytes would be good to put into my body. And it was like 5 quetzales more than a bottle of water. So I think the soup was like 50 quetzales, tostones 45 quetzales, Gatorade, I want to say 20 quetzales. So it was like 115 quetzales. Lunch, 10% service charge was included, so it ended up being like 126.50 quetzales. Still less than $20 for like an appetizer, a meal, and a drink. That's good. And then I like went to the pool for a little bit and cooled down in there. I think I organized my money when I got back to my room. And then just before 3, I got to the lobby for my guided tour, my sunset tour. I was with one couple that were from, well, the guy was from, and his name was Guy. Hi, Guy. I don't think Guy's listening to this. But he was from London, but he lived with his partner. I'm not sure if she was his wife or just really long-term girlfriend. She's from the Canary Islands, and now they both live on the Canary Islands. So hi, Guy and Alba, on the very unlikely chance that you are listening to this. And hi, John, on the very unlikely chance you are listening to this too, I guess. But yeah, they were such a sweet couple. Our guide was so nice. He told us a story about how like he moved to the jungle right outside Tikal in like 1980 or something, and he had like, there were 3 neighboring families, like there was hardly anyone else living in the jungle. And back then, like the wildlife wasn't used to humans, so they weren't afraid of humans yet. Now they are really afraid of humans because of all the hunting humans have done. They're just like scared of humans now, understandably so. But yeah, we're not sure if like how true that story was. Like maybe the puma just like kind of took some steps toward him and his sister. But he said he only had to run for like 50 meters, and it was kind of far away to start. But I don't know. I mean, we all have distorted our own childhood memories in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, it was cool. It was also his birthday. So that's exciting. Yeah, I learned a lot from him. So on the Jungle Lodge's website, it says like kind of topics each tour will cover. It didn't like exactly cover all of those things, but it did cover some of the things I was most interested in, like the Mayan calendar and like astronomy, and Tikal's collapse. So I thought I was really interested. I don't want to give away like all the information that I learned on that tour just because I don't know, I did pay for it and I feel like you guys, if you want to go, you should pay for it too and support these businesses and these local people. But yeah, it's very cool how connected like my people were to the Big Dipper, and they're still looking for, I think, the seventh temple because the Big Dipper has 7 stars in it that like make up its points, and there are 6, and so far the 6 match like where the stars in the Big Dipper are. So they know that they still have to like do some uncovering of the 6 and do some work, but then they think the 7th will kind of be that like last far out star end of the handle in the Big Dipper. So yeah, I think that's really cool. And just like 7's a really big number in the Mayan culture too because of that. And like that also correlates with the Mayan calendar. So when the Big Dipper would appear in the north, then that meant the start of their new year, which was the winter solstice, so like December 21st. So their calendar wasn't all that off from our calendar. But yeah, it's all like really, really interesting. And I'm glad I learned a lot on that tour. Sunset, very cloudy. So it wasn't like the great sunset, but it was cool being there when hardly any people were out. And it was cool walking through the ruins as it got darker, and like using a flashlight to like look in at some stuff. So yeah, it was cool learning a lot more than I would have learned from signs around the place. Yeah, it was a really nice guided tour, but I went back. Oh, I should probably show you. This is Temple 5. This is the tallest temple, at 57 meters. It has 7 platforms leading up to the top. Again, 7 after the Big Dipper. But the structure of it was a little inspired by the Aztecs with like the rounded edges instead of the square edges at the end of each of those platforms, which you can't really see in this picture. So yeah, it was really cool, really pretty. And actually like only 20% of the ruins are uncovered. A lot of the backs of these temples were just like completely covered in like grass, and it looked like a hill if you were standing from the back. For structures that are still completely covered, they can still kind of figure out its shape using some kind of fancy equipment. And so I think that was really cool. Like when I saw the sign for the South Acropolis and how like this is what the images tell us it looks like. I feel like that also had like 7 platforms. But yeah, I think this was the one where the ruler, I think it was the 22nd ruler of Tikal, he went by Animal Skull or whatever that like the Mayan translation for that is. But yeah, Animal Skull. But yeah, that was really pretty. That was really cool. Okay, and then this is the view from Temple 2. So that one is a climbable one. You have like you're not actually walking on the ruins, you're walking on like a platform that's like above the ruins and stairs that go along the side of it. And to the left is North Acropolis, which is a cemetery for like the higher class people. And then in the front is Temple 1, which you can't tell from this picture, but that's one of the ones where like the back of the structure is just like a hill. But yeah. So that was cool. That was really pretty. And that's in the Grand Plaza. That is a view. This picture shows a view of Temple. Oh, that's of Temple 2 from the North Acropolis. Which had so many places like crawl and walk around. Same with the Central Acropolis on the other side, which is kind of where royals stayed. And behind the Central Acropolis was one of the reservoirs that held all their water. I think they had 13 reservoirs total, and Tikal's collapse was actually because they went through a few years of drought and there was just no water around for them, even like miles around. But they had systems built in place so that all the water, when it rained, would drain into these reservoirs. And then on the other side of that reservoir was Temple 5. And apparently it was very colorful. So like all the wealthy people, when sitting inside on the hot days, they had a beautiful view of the reservoir, so the water view, and the colorful Temple 5. And actually, all the ground, like in the city itself, was stone. Like they took away all the grass, all the trees. So it's like there was no shade unless you were inside a structure or like you went just outside the city limits, I guess, into the jungle. No shade, which is like kind of crazy for the location. But yeah, must have been very bright there because it's like light colored stone. But yeah, so that was cool. There were koalas everywhere. They were so cute. I had a friend actually, when I posted this on Instagram today, I post my pictures like after my trips so that you can like really enjoy it. But I mean, my hostel Macarena and the Jungle Lodge had Wi-Fi. Jungle Lodge only had it in the lobby, but Tikal has no service. So if you're trying to use data, you can't. So I kept my phone on airplane mode and would turn on Wi-Fi when I was in the hotel, like restaurant or pool or something. Even though like my room was like literally right next to the lobby pretty much, I still didn't have the Wi-Fi in my room, which is fine. Because I had like Netflix and Disney Plus stuff downloaded and ready to watch, so it was cool. But koalas, so cute. Don't approach them and get too close to them. They do have really sharp fangs and they can like and claws and stuff, so they can do some damage to you. So just keep a respectful distance. Saw lots of them, saw lots of red-fronted parrots, saw quite a good bit of spider monkeys. I heard some howler monkeys during the night, which was really neat. Howler monkeys do sound eerie, but if you go in knowing that, when you hear it, you're like, oh, listen to those monkeys. That's so cool. I saw 2 toucans out there, and then there were my guide like took a picture of a tarantula in like a little hole, like using my flash. And so like I went and the other people with me, like we went and looked at it. So that was really cool. Saw a tarantula. They said they also saw like a larger one earlier that day because this one was like this big. And I think the one they saw earlier in that day was like more like that big. But he just stayed in his hole. Like when we came to get a little bit of a closer look, he just like stood still. I'm sure he was like, please don't touch me. But yeah, lots of koalas. And then for the guided tour, which I was there August 20th, on April 25th and August 20th, the shadow of Temple 1 perfectly aligned, or shadow of Temple 2 perfectly aligned with Temple 1 at 5 p.m. I don't know if there's any significance to those dates. So like the Mayans like want to know when it's those days at that time. But yeah, so it was cool to see that happen on that day. And the guide, that it was after that the guide told us it was his birthday. So he loves giving this tour on his birthday because he gets to see this really cool thing that only happens twice a year. But yeah, that was really neat and interesting. So we went to the Lost World, to the plaza on one of the structures over there to watch the sun set. And while Temple 4 is under refurbishment, that's also where they're watching the sunrise, but normally sunrise is from Temple 4. But yeah, so the Star Wars shot was shot from Temple 4 of Temples 3 and 1. So yeah, if you're a Star Wars person, my soon-to-be brother-in-law, very big on Star Wars. Hi, Kevin. You guys know Kevin. Well, if you've listened to other episodes, I'm sure. We have a whole episode on Star Wars too. We'll make sure to link that in like one of the cards on the YouTube video and stuff. But yeah, okay, here's kind of like the comparison picture I did for that. So on top, you have the Star Wars A New Hope picture, shot from Temple 4 of Temples 1 and 3. I know the picture says 2, just ignore it. So yeah, you can kind of see like the little window right here on Temple One and see here. And so that's kind of cool. After that, went back to the hostel. Our room came with my room came with 2 towels, and the hostel rooms they're like private. All the rooms are private. You either get 1 double bed or 2 single beds. I had 2 single beds, which they let me know when I booked because they said it was the only room left. And there are like mosquito nets for each bed. And then it's like a shared bathroom. So it's kind of dorm style. I think it's where like UPenn students stay when they come do their archaeology stuff there. But yeah, used the second towel to kind of mop myself up. And then I went to go eat, which I got like Mediterranean pasta, and I just asked for it without cheese. And then they were serving alcohol. So I got a tamarind margarita, which I've heard tamarind is sweet and tangy. I kept seeing like when margaritas would be on the menus, like tamarind would be a flavor option. So I got a tamarind margarita. It was very good. You could definitely taste the tequila, which normally I don't like, but it was very smooth and I was like very into it. So yeah, that was nice. Very nice. And I think it was 42 quetzales for the margarita, which is like $5 something. And then 72, I think, for the pasta. So yeah, still good prices. Oh, and then I went into the pool, and this time it was only me at the pool, which was really nice. And I think it was my first time in the pool that day. So I went in the afternoon, and I was just kind of sitting in the pool. There are other people around, but I didn't care. I was just kind of sitting there looking at the jungle around me, and I was just like, I paid for this trip all by myself. And here I am really relaxing and enjoying myself at this nice hotel. And yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, dinner was good. I definitely liked lunch better not just because it was more authentic food, but I thought that food tasted better. But I mean, there are only so many vegan options. I'm not sure if other stuff could be made vegan. I didn't ask. I just asked about the specific things that I was ordering. But yeah, chilled in the pool, showered, and then I finished the Age of Adeline and snacked on like a protein bar and some of the like nut and raisin mix from Los Amigos. And just very chill. Loved listening to the animals out there. They also have there were some cicadas out. It didn't seem to be like a big cicada year, but their cicadas look totally different from the ones here in North America. They're like black and green. But yeah, it was cool that I was like, I didn't know they had cicadas in Central America. But yeah, like the whole time I was in the like park, like the ruins part of Tikal, I could not, and I still cannot wrap my mind around being around structures that old. Like some of them were built 300 AD. But like 300 AD, I was standing next to things so incredibly old, and I couldn't wrap my mind around that. Like, I mean, all the jungle, like all the greenery and stuff around that, no tree in the park is as old as these structures and stuff. So like all the grass, all the trees, everything, like this is still way older than all of that. And it's just amazing because like we have trees in America, I'm sure, that are older than this country, or like when we became independent at least. So it's just crazy that like these structures are just that old. I think that is insanely cool. But yeah, the next morning I just ate breakfast in my room, the bagel, the apple, the rest of my Gatorade. And then I took an 8:15 shuttle to the airport, got there a little after 9, had the same driver as the day before, and I was by myself again in the shuttle. Well, he picked up another, like a employee from another hotel to drop off along the way. And then when he dropped him off, there was a Jungle Lodge employee who came in who had ridden a motorcycle that far with another Jungle Lodge employee, but she had to go further, so she got in, and then we kept going, which was fun. I mean, it didn't take up any extra time really. And then I got to the airport and I like checked in at 9:15. They're like, okay, security for your flight will open at 10. So it's like, oh, security's not even like open yet. Even though there probably were earlier flights, let's say, but I guess it just opens as things go on. So yeah, went through security. We left early because everyone was checked in and boarded on the plane. So I'm still in 45 minutes back to Guatemala City. Had maybe like a 3-hour layover there or something. Yeah, we get in. They take you like right to baggage claim. And then I went through customs, showed them my QR code again. Went out the same exit I went through. I exited from when I originally landed in Guatemala City, like on my way into the country. And again, crossed the street to the parking deck, went up to level 3, went through the regular entrance, and then I had to wait in a long line in front of Frontier's desk because they only opened that desk 3 hours before the flight, and it was maybe a little over 3 hours that I got there. So that was long, and you couldn't, because there are travel restrictions on Guatemala, you have to pick up your boarding pass from the desk going into and out of the country. So yeah, waited in that super long line, and then I could finally go through. I picked up some more souvenirs at the airport. They have coffee beans and chocolate and textiles and everything. So like I waited to buy chocolate until I got to the airport because I didn't want it to melt or anything. And yeah, some snacks. I got a smoothie, ate my sandwich. I think I also finished my like nut and fruit bag while I was waiting for in the Frontier line. But yeah, I just sat and everyone boarded the plane early. We were starting to leave early, then someone had like a little health problem, but we had literally like just back out of our gates. We just went whoop, right back in. We left a few minutes late, but that was like no big deal. We still landed on time in Atlanta, so no biggie. Oh, on the flight there was a sea turtle on the wing, a green sea turtle on the wing. So like Frontier is like the greenest airline, probably because they upcharge you so much for baggage and it makes you rethink bringing baggage other than your personal item. But I don't know. And they don't like have free snacks and everything, which is fine. I bring my own snacks, I bring my own liquids, whatever. But yeah, so like each plane has a different animal at the end of its wings. So on the flight there, I had green sea turtle, which I worked with before. And then on the way back, I had a horned puffin, which was just one of the animals I worked with on my internship over this summer. So I thought that was really nice. So yeah, then I just flew back through another 3.5 hours about. And on the TAG Airlines flight from Flores to Guatemala City, they had a bunch more drinks available. So they still had like water and Pepsi like they did the first time, but they also had like grape soda, apple juice, I think peach juice, and maybe some like tea. So yeah, that was cool. Like complimentary, of course. So yeah, landed at about 9 p.m. and customs for us and for foreigners was a breeze for everyone. We just went whoop right through. And yeah, and then my boyfriend picked me up and got home safely by like 10 p.m. So it was good. Everything went smooth. Everything was great. Okay, so some souvenirs, like coffee beans, they'll range from like, I saw anywhere from like 50 to 70 quetzales. I'm not sure about at the airport what the pricing was, but prices didn't seem too bad at the airport. They also accepted US dollars, at least at some places in the airport. And some prices were like listed as US dollars instead of quetzales, but you could still pay in quetzales. But I got a big bag of coffee beans from Beau Cafe in Flores. And then I got a magnet from Tikal with a coati on it, and that was 25 quetzales, and a keychain that was 20 quetzales. For the vendors at Tikal, just go around to the different vendors, checking out their different prices, because you'll definitely see like a big range. Like the keychain I got for 20 quetzales, someone else said they were selling it for 35, which is like almost $2 more. So like I'm not really sure. Or like I ended up buying the magnet and the keychain from the same place. And when I asked about the magnet, like they were like, oh, 30. And then I was gonna get the keychain and they said that was 20. And they're like, oh, if you buy the magnet, we'll do it for 25, which is the cheapest I saw it for elsewhere too. So I just got them both in one place. So yeah, inexpensive. And then I think I got 2 things of chocolate for 104 quetzales. One thing was like $10 and the other was like $3. So there's a range of prices. And the $3 one was like more of a drinking chocolate. So like you break it up and like hot milk, for me, hot soy milk, and drink it that way. But yeah, the smoothie at the airport was 32 quetzales, which like everywhere I was seeing smoothies was like 30, 35 quetzales, like like on the island and everything. So it wasn't like an airport upcharge or anything. So yeah, overall good, smooth trip. I got like a drink and some gummies for my boyfriend at the airport, and conchas for his family, like a little pack of conchas, and that was like 43, 44 quetzales for like total for all 4 things. So you can get cheap airport snacks, which was really good. But yeah. Oh, Spanish. I don't speak Spanish all that well. I've been doing Portuguese on Duolingo for a long time. The week before I left, I switched that to Spanish, and I wasn't the best with it, but you know what? I had unlimited data, so Google Translate was my best friend. But there are a few phrases maybe you want to know. Sorry if I slightly mispronounce some things. Do you have change? Tienes cambio? They also say ATM. It's just like ATM. Like they know what you mean if you say ATM. Just thought I'd throw that out there. What is vegan? ¿Qué es vegano? Is anything vegan? Es algo vegano? I also used puedo pedir esto hecho vegano, which is something like, can I order this made vegan, or something. So yeah, that was neat. And then like tomar la comida para llevar, take the food to go. So yeah, I just like took screenshots of some common phrases I would use. You can definitely just do that before your trip if you're not going to have data. I did end up having 2 conversations when ordering food completely in Spanish. I did not understand quite everything they were saying, but I got through it and everything turned out exactly how I wanted to. So I was like, a little pat on the shoulder. I did not expect that to happen while I was there. But yeah, that definitely, I've never been so inspired to learn a language. I definitely hope to do that more. My boyfriend, Ryan, speaks Spanish pretty well. So he said we can try speaking around home sometimes too. I definitely keep up with Duolingo. The Duolingo setup for Spanish is so much better than the setup for Portuguese. Like, so much better. Like when you make a mistake and it tells you like, this is the error. And like when I use esta instead of s or something, like it tells you like the differences between the two. I'm like, oh, that is so helpful. Or like it asks you a question in Spanish and then you respond in Spanish, like choose a Spanish response. I'm like, yes. Why don't they have that kind of stuff for Portuguese? I don't know. I guess more people want to learn Spanish. But yeah, never been so inspired to learn another language before. With that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed listening to this podcast episode. Definitely leave me your solo travel tips if you are a well-seasoned solo traveler, or at least have more than what I have under your belt. Or if you've been to Antigua and hiked Volcan Acatenango, I really want to go back for the dry season to do that. My pass ends at the end of April, so maybe my birthday's around the end of April, so maybe around then I'll go back after spring break season when prices are hiked a little. And definitely leave any questions you have below. I would be more than happy to answer. I'll also leave a link to at least like one of Oibi's videos from his trip, so you can just get a different perspective and also see a different part of Guatemala, and maybe you want to do like Antigua and Flores and Tikal, the volcanoes and everything in one go. Okay, there were so many people, so many British people traveling. I'll just say that. But like the couple I met had been there for like 5 weeks, and I think they still had a little more time on their trip to go. The American was started in Nicaragua, I think like 2 months ago, and still has like a month and a half at least of backpacking. There's no set end date for him. Yeah, lots of people are just like really taking the time and spending weeks in Central America. But I mean, especially if you are coming from like Britain and stuff, it takes a lot longer to get there. So it kind of makes sense for them, and they get those kind of longer holidays or vacations than us in America do. But thankfully for us, it's shorter flights. And thankfully I have that all you can fly pass. So I get them. I just have to pay like taxes and fees for those flights. But yeah, thank you guys again for listening, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's Long Distance Sisters. Be sure to subscribe for more episodes and leave a good review.
And check out the video version on our YouTube channel.
You can find all of our other social media information in the description.
Talk to you later.
Bye.